everyone, how you doing today? My name is Kirsty, aka Both Bookish, and on today's video, we're creating a rainbow. Firstly, put your hand up if you have ever recorded a video, gone to edit that video, realised you forgot to press the button, didn't notice that the light wasn't on, and therefore only had half your video properly recorded. Now put your hand up if it's happened more than once. This is actually the first of a 2 video thing that I want to do this Pride month. The other one that I'm going to do is going to be based off of the Progress Pride flag and going through and picking books that represent all of the meanings of the different parts of the flag. And that one was inspired by our queer overlord himself, Jonah. But this one that I'm doing today was one that I saw Chelsea from Chelsea Zhao do. And I just really loved the idea of it, and for this one we're going to go through the colours of like the main rainbow rather than the entire queer rainbow. So we're just going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo, other way around, indigo, violet. So we're going to do it that way round. We're going to do those colours, and then I'm going to pick a queer book for each of those colours, and then at the end we'll have a little rainbow stack that I can recommend that has different types of LGBT rep in one way, shape or form. And we're kickstarting with the colour red. It's me, it's this channel, it's queer books. Aidan Thomas is going to appear. This is Cemetery Boys. We have a male-male romance, and one of the males is also trans in this. And basically, Yadriel's cousin has been... Yadriel has the power to see spirits, goes to try and find his cousin's spirit in order to find out, you know, what went wrong, who did it, what happened, when he stumbles across the spirit of one of his classmates instead, Julian. And the pair end up working together to figure out not only what happened to Yadriel's cousin, but also how Julian ended up as a spirit. And at the same time, they begin to fall in love. And oh my god, one of my all-time favourites. Aidan Thomas themselves is trans-mass non-binary. So there is all kinds of rep. And the audiobook is narrated by a trans-mass narrator. So good. Because I've got a different Aidan Thomas that I would like to use, the one that I'm actually going to go for this is Our Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide by Monet Surai. This is one of the very few boy love series and boy love manga where I actually do recommend it, and I don't think it's inherently problematic. So it is on my sort of stamped approval list. This follows a couple who, after one of them has been a bit sick, they've decided to go travelling, and then the agreement is that when they return home they will get married. Only there is a little bit of an issue there because obviously marriage in Japan between gay people is currently still illegal. And also the one who was sick, he's dealing with some internal conflicts going on with that, as well as he still has that almost internalized homophobia and that shame of being gay. And so we've kind of got a black cat golden retriever couple, and the golden retriever kind of bears the brunt of the majority of the like black cat's emotions. But I have only read the first one, but I did really love it and thought their relationship was very sweet, and I do want to continue it. And like I said, it's one of the few boy love manga that I actually genuinely do recommend. So that one is the one that I'm going to choose for the stack. For orange, I actually only have one book that I can even contend with this. So if you have any orange coloured queer LGBT books, please do shout out below. But the only one I own on my shelves is Heartstopper Volume 5, because we can see it's got this like pumpkin orange colour on the spine. This follows Nick and Charlie. They meet when their school kind of redesigns their systems so that in their sort of form room, homeroom, instead of it being that everyone from the same year or grade is in the one classroom, they have got mixed years together now. So these two end up being put next to each other. They start up a friendship that eventually leads into a relationship. Charlie is gay. Nick starts off thinking that he is straight, but by the point we're at in the story, he has realised that he is actually bisexual, and he's gone on this sort of journey of self-discovery there. There's so much rep in here as well. We have a trans character, we've got a sapphic relationship, we've got an asexual character, and it really is such a reflective look on what it's like for a modern day teenager, especially now that being part of the LGBT community is so much more open and it's not this big taboo thing that you have to hide like it used to be even when I was a teenager. I've said it before, I will say it again, I wish this series had been around when I was a teenager because it would have just been so good. It is a very cozy hug of a book. But there are trigger warnings for mental health and things like eating disorders as the series progresses, so do please also be aware of that going into it. Yellow, I've got a couple of options. First one that we have is Cafe Con Lychee. Yes, it is blue on the a bluey green on the outside, but I'm kind of going by this alarming shade of yellow on the actual book itself. This is a YA queer story about two young men who are on the same soccer team at their high school. Yes, I will say soccer on this one occasion, because I will acknowledge that other countries do call it by a different thing, even if it's football. But I will acknowledge that in this it is soccer. You've got Theo and Gabrielle, and basically both of them have families that own local food places. And when a new fusion restaurant opens up, both of their businesses, family businesses, are struggling and about to go under. So they decide, hey, we may hate each other, we dislike each other, we cannot be even in the same room as each other half the time, but for the sake of our families and saving our family businesses, we're going to team up and we're going to work together to create new fusions of our foods and try and save the business that way. And while they do it, they realise, hey, maybe there's a bit of misunderstanding between us and maybe we don't dislike each other as much. There's also ADHD rep in here, which I really, really loved. It is Theo, my brain, yes. And I did really enjoy this one. I had a really good time with it and I do want to reread it at some point. So that was an option, but the one that I'm going to put on the stack so that I've got a bit more variety is the Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. I will say the relationship wasn't my favourite in this, and I did prefer this more for the writing style and the kind of cottagecore cozy vibes that it had in between other stuff that was going on. But it does feature the main romance being sapphic, and we do have these two very different individuals who come together to figure out the curse that's on the land and to try and work out, you know, what's going on and how can we maybe break this curse. There were things I did love, things I didn't love. I did love the writing style in this. I really did love the descriptions. I felt like I was on a little cottage farm somewhere out in the wild, out in the countryside. And I did do a cottagecore vlog too when I was reading this. You know, I've got a lot of really lovely memories associated with this. And like I said, the main characters themselves are sapphic. For green, we have one of my favourite books of last year, Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Shirley. Another male YA romance. And you've basically got these two boys who are from very different lives. One is kind of, again, it's a family restaurant that's really struggling, and it's sort of like after his mum passed away, it's just become a real struggle to keep things together. Meanwhile, you've got Dylan, who comes from this like really rich elitist family, and they kind of find comfort and joy within each other, and they help each other realise what they would like to do in the future. And I did have a really great time with this one. I did give it 5 stars. It had all the vibes, all of the cozy, and I got to learn a little bit more about Singaporean, and I learned a bit more about the Mid-Autumn Festival through this book, and mooncakes in particular, and I now really, really want to try mooncakes. And I had a really lovely time. But the book that I have chosen for this, because I can't leave them out of the stack, it would just be illegal for me to leave them out of the stack, Aidan Thomas with the Sunbearer Trials. So yes, I am putting Aidan Thomas in the stack, but unlike I think the last time I did this, where it was Cemetery Boys, this time Sunbearer Trials, you've got these semi-diosas who are all the children of these different gods, and in order to basically protect the world from the evil calamity that once reigned, the main god Sol sacrificed himself, and now every 10 years there's a competition between the like 12, I think it's 12, I'm sure it's 12 of these children are selected to take part in this tournament, and whoever comes last is then the next sacrifice to keep that prison together. There are two types of these god deity semidiosas, where you've got the golds, who are like the super macho, think sort of Zeus, think Horus, the real big heavy hitters. And then we've got the sort of the lower ranks, the Jades, where they're sort of like the minor gods. Throughout history, very, very few Jades have been selected, and as it says here, it's been over a century since the last Jade got selected. Only this time, not one, but 2 Jades get selected to enter the competition, and basically everything just goes tits up from there. And it just, oh, it's such a wonderful book about inclusion and about finding yourself when the world is against you, kind of thing. Teo, the main character, is trans. Zio is one of the other main characters, and Zio goes through a personal journey as well through the books. Naya, I'm not sure if it's actually confirmed again, because Aidan Thomas is good at writing characters with ADHD without explicitly stating, but Naya pretty much is ADHD incarnate, and the whole thing is just beautifully chaotic. I love the dynamics so much between all these characters. For blue, I've got a few options. We've got Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, which is a male-male romance, sort of like an opposites attract kind of situation with a bit of fake dating mixed in there. One's a lawyer, one's the son of a celebrity who's kind of crashing out and needs to try and improve his self-image within the media. And I just had the most fabulous time with this, and it was just so full of charm and wit. I loved it. There's also Prince's Gambit, which is book 2 in the Captive Prince series, which, as we know, is one of my absolute all-time favourite series now. This is another male-male setting. It goes into some very dark, very heavy topics very quickly into the book, so please do be aware of that. But it is the truest enemies to lovers that I have read in a very long time, if ever. But the one that I am going to go for is another manga recommendation. I've only read the first volume, but I think this is going to be one that is going to be beautiful and destroy me, and that is The Summer You Were There by Yuama. This is sapphic. I do not tend to read sapphic manga purely because, similarly with boy love manga, where I have issues and there are some problematic areas with that, I also have some pretty major issues where a lot of sapphic manga tends to draw the girls very immaturely and almost like children, and that makes me very uncomfortable. But this one is genuinely teenagers, so I was like, it's fine if they look young because they are teenagers, and as long as it doesn't get sexual, I am fine with that. So this one follows 2 high school girls. One is a writer, and she's been writing these really sad, melancholic stories. She decides that she's finished her piece, so she doesn't want to write anymore, goes to throw it away. The other one sees it, reads it, and is like, oh my god, this is amazing, you should read more. And she's like, but I can't because I don't have any experience of these relationships. How can I write a book about something I've never experienced? And she's like, well, why don't we date? Over this summer, we will date, we will be in a relationship, you'll then get that experience that you need. So that's what they agreed to do. They start to date, only we're starting to get hints, even in the first volume, that the one that initiates all of this, I can't remember her name, Cowdy, something seems to be off with Cowdy, and I've got a feeling that I'm probably going to end up crying. It definitely is sort of like that kind of young love, first love, sapphic romance, and I am very much looking forward to continuing. For Indigo, again, it's one of those, I've only got one book, and that book is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. You can see it's kind of got these indigo, blue and purple elements in the spine and on the cover. I've talked about this book quite a lot, about how beautiful this book is, but it is also very triggering for assault and, you know, abuse and things like that, so please do check out the trigger warnings. This is another sapphic one. We have Ren and Lee, who have both been taken from their homes to be offered up to the emperor as his concubines. This is not something you have a choice in. If you are selected, you are taken. But it's not an easy ride. He is very abusive. There are different types of sort of magical beings in this. We've got the moon-cased, who are the kind of, they emulate the gods. They are very animal. So like the emperor in this, he is a bull. And he is like a humanoid, like massive bull. We've then got is it the steel? Oh, I forgot I had that. Yeah, the steel cased, who are human, but they have been blessed by the gods, so they have sort of animalistic features. So it might be a human who's got a tail, or someone who's got stripes, things like that. And then there's the paper cased, who are the humans, and basically they are just seen as the weaklings. And so yeah, we do have this story of these two going through that, but falling in love through their trauma, and then eventually they end up sparking a revolution against the emperor and basically just causing the whole world to implode. It is very heavily emotional, and it even starts with saying, please be aware there's very heavy trigger warnings for sexual assault. So if that is something that does sit uncomfortably with you, please do not read it. But if you are able to read it, I do suggest it, because it certainly book 2, when they are delving more into that trauma and the actual repercussions of what they went through. Definitely a powerful one. And then finally for Violet, I've just gone with regular straight up purple. I've got a couple of options. So the first option that I had was Delilah Green Doesn't Care, because we have another sapphic relationship. We've got Delilah Green, who returns home to photograph her stepsister's wedding, ends up falling in love with her stepsister's best friend, who is bisexual, and they get into a relationship, and it was just full of heart but also full of a lot of humour. We have This Poison Heart by Callum Bayron. Bryces was adopted by her 2 mums when she was younger, and then she suddenly inherits the family estate of her biological family, who she's never known about, never met. She knew she was adopted, but she's never known anything about her bio family. And so when she inherits the estate, they move there. She discovers a whole bunch of family secrets, and at the same time is involved with a local teenager who may or may not be more than she seems, and starts to have feelings there. So not only are her parents lesbians, but she herself is also a lesbian. And I did have a great time with this, and I can't wait to read the second one. But the one that I'm going to go for, it's slightly more pinky than straight up violet, but this one had a huge impact on me and has a different rep to anything I've mentioned so far, and that is Loveless by Alice Oseman. This is the book that made me realise for the first time that maybe I am asexual, and led me down a big rabbit hole that I am still kind of navigating now. It also features a romantic rep as well, because our main character is Arrow Ace, and it was just a really lovely story of her joining the university's LGBT society and learning about the different types of queerness and also a self-discovery. And then when she realises and makes connections that someone in her family may also be similar to her, and she reaches out, there were just so many beautiful moments in this. There were a couple of moments where I was a bit like, I hate this, but that was more because it was teen drama and teen angst, which I am not so hot on anymore. But the actual story about self-discovery again in this, and Alice Oseman is just incredible at writing these kind of stories in a way that makes you feel like you're being comforted and just accepted as you're reading them, and I love it so, so much. So yeah, let's see if I can do this without dropping it. Kind of. I did it backwards. So here is our rainbow stack. Quick recap, we have a book with male, gay rep. We have bisexual, trans, gay, asexual rep that I can think off the top of my head. Sapphic rep, trans and non-binary rep by a non-binary trans author. Sapphic rep, Sapphic Rep and Arrow Ace Rep. So that is my little stack of queer books. I feel like that's a really good stack of books for you to start with if you are new to reading queer books. I will admit most of those are fantasy, but I did try to include a few contemporary in that video and in that mix. Let me know in the comments, have you read any of these and what were your thoughts on them? And as I said earlier in the video, if you have any orange coloured books that are LGBT, please do let me know and hit me up with some ideas so I can add more to my shelves for next year. Thank you again to Chelsea for the idea for this video. Please do go check her out and also check out the video from Jonah that I mentioned at the very start of this video. Those will both be linked below. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all good. I hope staying safe. Happy Pride, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!